Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean Live Radio Show, featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Sanders,
also known as Ginny Almighty,
who joins Dr. Dean on tonight's program. Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. And we'll be taking your calls from around the world and right here in the USA.
Welcome, everyone, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Monday, March 2nd, 2020, and we are so happy that you are joining us from wherever you are in the world. And we do welcome our worldwide listenership. It's so thrilling when we hear people listening to us from Kuwait, from New Zealand, from Israel, from the UK, from Canada, of course, our dear Canadian friends, but of course that is the birthplace of our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. And then we have all of our wonderful listeners here in the United States and around Latin America. And then we have all of the new listeners that we're acquiring all the time, because this is a time to be aware of your health, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? There's nothing better than what's happening right now to get you super focused and dialed in on the fact that every day in every way you want your body to be super strong and healthy. And that's what Dr. Carolyn Dean is all about. And I want to tell you, as her co-host, the very own, as the show announced, Ginny Sanders, I've had the incredible benefit of working with Dr. Dean for many, many years, but I can tell you I have not been with her as long as she's been with you and with it and about it and doing it, the it being 100% from the heart, pure, positive source, energy, freaking 100% health. And I am sitting here with the most little precious thing in my hand. It is a little purple book, and it's called When You Can't Reach the Doctor. And ladies and gentlemen, this book is from 1990, copyrighted 1989, Carolyn Dean, second edition copy, 1990. I just don't think you get any better than this. Someone with this level of integrity, with her picture on the back, her young picture, very young, she's a little girl in this picture, showing that from the very beginning there was an intense and powerful calling on her life to be the woman that she is today, presiding atop the world in a worldwide distribution of not only her very epic and wonderful formulas, but also her epic and wonderful wisdom. So you're in a good place tonight. You're going to hear things that you need to hear, and you're going to get inspired in ways you need to be inspired, so you know 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt that when you combine nutrients with lifestyle, with a powerful positive expectation, your body is going to rock it out. And so before I bring her on, I just want to remind you, and listen to what it says on the back of the book box. It says, do you want to use natural remedies but don't know where to start? Are you tired of having a drug prescribed for you every time you see the doctor? This little gem of a book answers these questions and more. When You Can't Reach the Doctor is written in a clear, easy-to-understand format. And it does have very many of the same things that we talk about today, because you know what? The human condition, as the Bible says, there's no new thing under the sun. We are all who we are, doing what we do. Well, there is a new thing, I guess. We could talk about the RNA drops, but that's probably for the second hour in the back room while we're smoking cigars and sipping shots of tequila, right, Carolyn? So anyway, welcome, Brian from Boston, our very, very dear friend who's back. Thank you for joining us again. Welcome to all our listeners. Before I bring her on, I just want to remind you, Dr. Dean is, as I've made a big point of saying, a very profound doctor in a lot of different ways. But she doesn't practice medicine on her radio show. That's a big no-no. But what she does do is she does tell you what she would do if she were you, and what she has been telling people that have produced extraordinary results since, at the very least, 1989, when this book was written, as we know, even before then, since she graduated from medical school, and beyond today, as she will be right back here in this seat next week and every week to come for a very long time. So without further ado, my most dear and precious friend, the very own, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Oh, where is she? Uh-oh, I don't hear her voice. There she is. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm blathering away. I've said my introduction now. Let's get to the meat of the matter. Thank you, Jenny.
Hey, Carolyn, I have a question about the book. Is that the purple cover, Ginny?
Yes, with the keyhole on it, Bob. Yep.
Yeah, with the phone dangling off hook. The phone is off the hook when you can't reach the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. Can now you read the first page or two who the book is dedicated to?
No, Bob.
Carolyn won't allow that out.
We're not
That's the secret
there.
stuff.
That I remember. I was dedicating my life to Bob, and look
no, there's
how that turned out.
Other people you should be proud of that she mentions who she dedicates the book to.
You don't have to do that, Ginny. I'll mute Bob.
Wait a minute. I just want to say I'm noticing right now that there is a play for cipher to the names here, and it says, "This user-friendly manual is dedicated to my very good friend, Ginny Sanders."
Yes. Who I will meet in another 20 years.
Yes. If you look at that book cover, that's not a keyhole, that's a portal, and Ginny just went through it.
Yes. So welcome, everybody, to our life. And one thing we say is the worst is over. And we say that the scientist rigorously defends his or her right to be ignorant of almost everything except their own specialty. We do not specialize here. What we do is we look at our cells, our human cells. Everybody's human cell is the same, I guarantee you. And all we're doing is supporting you at the cellular level with nutrients that actually get into the cells. We don't have to do a lot of hyping about our products to say, they do this, that, and the other thing. In fact, we don't really have a First Amendment right to be able to tell you what we do. But we do know that our nutrients are highly absorbed at the cellular level. We're doing university research studies to prove that, and we'll have those reports and papers to you as they come along. So we are rigorously defending our right to be wise and knowledgeable about the whole body from the cells up. Ginny, wouldn't you say that's a great motto for us, that we support everybody at the cellular level and everybody's cells are equal?
Yes, absolutely. 100. I agree with you completely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's how we differ from anyone else, really. Okay, getting to our preliminary announcements, we want to ask you to keep referring your practitioners so that they can know about REMAG and can pass the good news on. REMAG and our other products, of course. We want you to use referral candy so that you'll gain a benefit when you refer your friends and family. We would like you to get your blood testing done with a home blood test kit. We're working with Grassroots Health. Their research started with vitamin D, and when Carol Baggerly realized that magnesium is very important to make vitamin D work, she asked us to join her project. We're going to have hundreds of our customers do the home blood test kit. We want to make sure that what we're recommending is working for you clinically, looks good on your blood work, and if If it's not improving you clinically, maybe your blood levels are too low for your thyroid support, for your omega-3 fatty acids, for your vitamin D, and for your magnesium. We want to know that and be respective and receptive and responsible for what we're telling people. And you can only do that with scientific analysis. I haven't done this before because even if we ask people to send in their blood tests, you're going to thousands of different labs, and they're not standardized. With this home blood test kit, they all go to one lab. It's called ZRT Labs, and we're doing a lot of statistical analysis on the tests. We don't know your individual tests. Your name never comes back to us, but the mass of data that's collected, we can analyze and feed you back information about that. I often talk about our magnesium deficiency survey with people who experience anxiety, insomnia, muscle cramps, heart palpitations, restless legs, and headaches, having a 30 to 65% incident of these symptoms, which, as we know, are usually treated with drugs instead of magnesium. Let's start with magnesium before we go to drug therapy. Drugs are useful, yes. We never tell people to stop taking their meds because they can easily take them while they're taking their nutrients. Jenny's blog that she puts up every Monday to alert you to the radio show. Today's blog, you can just follow along with me at drcarolyndeanlive.com. The title is Your Head and Heart, Magnesium Deficiency in Migraines and Heart Disease. So what this is about, often I would do blogs where I would say, well, a certain condition was related to another condition, and both these conditions are likely magnesium deficiency. So what this blog talks about is a study that connected restless legs and heart disease and migraines. The researchers found that the risk for cardiovascular disease was highest during the first year after migraine diagnosis, with an 8-fold increased risk for stroke and a 2-fold increased risk for heart attack, embolism, atrial fibrillation, or atrial flutter. Now, the thing of it is, I don't know if that implies that the drugs used for migraines will cause magnesium deficiency and lead someone to these symptoms. And we don't have the research that's even looking at that possibility. But what it means to me is that people with heart disease, they really need their magnesium. And all of a sudden, people with migraines are getting cardiovascular heart disease. So we also know, actually, that a very high percentage of people with migraines are very adequately treated and even cured, although we're not allowed to use that word, by taking magnesium. That's been proven over and over again in many studies. So we continue on here how in my book, The Magnesium Miracle, you can read about in various chapters about heart disease and about migraines and how low magnesium has been identified in migraine sufferers and may set the stage for migraine attack. The various aspects of that in non-menopausal women, estrogen rising before the period causes a shift of blood magnesium and can result in pre-period, pre-menses migraines. Many women have suffered with that, still are suffering. When magnesium is low, it's unable to do its job to counteract the clotting action of calcium on the blood, and tiny blood clots can clog up blood vessels in the brain, leading to migraines. Similarly, magnesium inhibits excess platelet aggregation, preventing the formation of these tiny clots, and relate to the pain of migraines. I mean, it's amazing. There's so many ways that low magnesium can cause these symptoms, and yet it really is ignored. The next few paragraphs are about magnesium regulating the action of brain neurotransmitters and inflammatory substances. And on to the cardiac arrhythmias. Magnesium was first shown to be of value in their treatment in 1935, and since then there's been numerous double-blind studies, but ignored by most of medicine. So the heart and the brain. And Ginny ends the blog with, if you have experienced restless legs, migraines, or irregular heart rhythms, you may be magnesium deficient. And these conditions may also compete with one another for whatever magnesium is in your body. But if you're reading this blog, you don't have to feel scared or worried by your current state of health. The worst is over. And now you can take this very day to decide to focus and put your attention on remineralizing your body. Men and women of any age, level, or degree of health can recover the structure and function and well-being of their health with the proper nutritional building blocks and lifestyle adjustments. And I noticed, Ginny, also on March 2nd, which is today, you put up the book, 65 Conditions Related to Magnesium Deficiency. And I don't know if you exactly meant to do that, but what we had produced, and then we didn't really know if we were, quote, allowed to put this out to the public, but it can be on my website. Right, it's gone now from the category. What we know about 65 conditions is what I put. I think I put it in the Magnesium Miracle. Oh, yeah, it's still there. If you just go to the homepage, drcarolyndeanlive.com, the third entry down is 65 conditions related to magnesium deficiency. Now, this is a real eye-opener. What it is, it's the conditions that I found, as I'm saying here, related to magnesium deficiency, and you can download the book. It starts off with a really cool diagram of all the body parts, and it's numbered with the 65 conditions. I mean, beside the brain, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 16 different medical conditions related to the brain and related to magnesium deficiency. Now, because the FDA doesn't want us saying that using magnesium can treat a disease, I'm very careful to talk about the possibility of certain conditions being magnesium deficient, giving the references, the scientific references. But what we do know about magnesium is that it's necessary for 1,000 enzyme processes. It's involved with 80% of known metabolic functions, and therefore that's the starting point of keeping your body healthy. And so I start out by going over some basics of how to get your magnesium, how to test for it, etc. Actually, I should update the book and talk about the home testing kit here. And then starting off with acid reflux and moving on to adrenal fatigue, moving on to Alzheimer's, and then angina. So download that book, send it to friends and family just for your education. I mean, it's important to know what is causing a person's symptoms. And just because doctors and drug companies don't learn about nutrient deficiencies in their education does not mean that they don't exist. They really do exist. So we have to be aware of them. I'll do a couple of the blog questions that came in. So someone is saying, I do a lot of speaking engagements and I have body cramps. This is not always convenient for me on stage or on a flight. Magnesium supplements tend to give me uncontrollable diarrhea. I've tried pills, lotions, salt baths. However, at times my entire body will have severe cramping. Those moments I drink a large glass of orange juice, probably for the potassium, and get in a hot tub of water and Epsom salt. That's magnesium sulfate. That usually does the trick. There's no doctor that helps me out on this. My blood work shows adequate levels of potassium and magnesium, so they chalk it up to dehydration. Do you have any suggestions for me? So, the test for magnesium is likely going to be the serum magnesium test, which is highly inaccurate for what's really going on at the cellular level. One of our research studies is going to help answer those types of questions. But in the meantime, what we've done, because I have this horrible diarrhea effect with all the other types of magnesium, is we recommend to people our Remag, which is a stabilized ion of magnesium that gets so quickly and directly into the cells that the magnesium doesn't have a chance to get to the large intestine and create its laxative effect. So our friend here, Diana, she can be starting even with our Remag lotion if she's afraid to take anything by mouth and see the benefits, because if Epsom salt baths work, it means she does require magnesium. It'll be helpful to her, so she can put the lotion on her body and start treating her magnesium deficiency. And the next question is, someone is asking, I'd like to know about ocular migraines. Now, ocular migraines, we've talked about them before on the show. This is a term used to refer to a number of migraine subtypes that are characterized by a variety of visual disturbances, including visual loss, blind spots, zigzag lines, or seeing stars. Visual impairments associated with migraine can happen with or without a headache. So all the things I say in my Magnesium Miracle book about headaches and migraines, you can apply to ocular migraines. It's that the muscles in and around the eye tighten up and can disturb the vision. They go into spasm. Any muscles that go into spasm, the first reason for that is magnesium deficiency until proven otherwise. So yes, ocular migraines for sure. The next one, someone is saying, Janice is saying her 40-year-old daughter has suffered with severe migraines that forced her to stay home from work a few times a month. She's been on medication. Now she's being recommended Botox. She's had a couple of rounds. The first round was effective for 5 to 6 weeks, and this mom is not comfortable with the Botox, wondering what I think. Now, what you can do, Janice, is email support at rnareset.com and ask for the migraine section of my book. If you have my book, you can just look at that section and see all the studies on migraine. I mean, one New York headache doctor had the paper he wrote that really caught my attention was titled something like "Everybody with a Migraine Should use magnesium as their first treatment protocol," and I totally agree. Next one, Rose says, I'm taking Remag because my RBC magnesium was low, and because some carpopedal foot spasms, so some foot spasms that began after 2004 surgery have become more frequent. If I take 3/4 teaspoon Remag a day, I get stronger, more frequent spasms, but I am okay at 3/4 a teaspoon. I have long-standing fibromyalgia, multiple chemical sensitivity, and Hashimoto's. I'm on a lactose-free diet for post-infectious IBS and SIBO, small intestinal organism imbalance. Do you have any advice about what to do? Now, see, what I think is happening here, Rose has given us a good history. 3/4 of a teaspoon, she's okay. Hopefully they're helping, but then a little more, she starts to spasm more. But when you're dealing with a low thyroid and the fibromyalgia, you really have to look at detoxing with the Realign and taking the Remite minerals as well. I mean, magnesium is awesome, but it's not a drug and it's not a cure-all. So personally, that's what I would be doing, and that's what I do myself, of course, is I take 2 Realign a day and a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of Remite a day. And that might be a way to get around the fact that when she takes extra magnesium, above 3/4 a teaspoon, things get too stirred up. You can start detoxifying your yeast when you start taking Remag. It's so good for supporting the immune system. So those were the mailbag topics. And now, before we go to the phones and all, I want to go to a special topic. I suppose it's going to be a topic for a while to come. On my own blog site at drcarolyndean.com, I put out a blog yesterday, I think, called IV Vitamin C for Coronavirus. So what I said there, and you can follow it at drcarolyndean.com, on February 21st, the Orthomolecular Medical News Service, of which I'm a director, issued a press release that described the efforts in China to use intravenous vitamin C against the coronavirus. I gave the treatment protocol in 2 links. One of the directors, as I am a director on the OMNS, Orthomolecular Medicine News Service, is in China, Dr. Richard Chang. He gave a report about 3 studies that are occurring in China using 12,000 to 24,000 milligrams per day of vitamin C by IV. And this blog gives different scientific references on the use of IV vitamin C for viral infections. In my Magnesium Miracle book, I talk about vitamin C being used back in the day to treat polio. So we know it is active against viruses. The press release of February 23rd, the title from the OMNS News Service is Tons of Vitamin C to Wuhan, China, using vitamin C against coronavirus. So apparently 50 tons of vitamin C are going to China because we don't have any treatment for coronavirus necessarily. I mean, I certainly know that personally I take my Pico Silver, my Remag, my Remite, my Realign, but this was a real breakthrough, except our media is not reporting it. You can read that February 23rd at the OMNS website. And instead of lauding the Chinese for using vitamin C, the news media is attacking vitamin C treatment of the virus. And this was put out by OMNS March the 1st. Andrew Saul, the editor-in-chief, Dr. Saul, wrote, first of all, the naysayers are too late. Vitamin C is already being used to prevent and treat the coronavirus in China and in Korea. Here's a verified official statement from China. The Jian Yangtong University Second Hospital And here's their quote. On the afternoon of February 20th, 2020, another 4 patients with severe coronavirus pneumonia recovered on the C10 West Ward of Tongjing Hospital. In the past, 8 patients have been discharged from hospital. High-dose vitamin C achieved good results in clinical applications. We believe that for patients with severe neonatal pneumonia, that's infants, and for critically ill patients, vitamin C treatment should be initiated as soon as possible after admission. Numerous studies have shown that the dose of vitamin C has a lot to do with the effect of treatment. High-dose vitamin C can not only improve antiviral levels, but more importantly can prevent and treat acute lung injury and acute respiratory distress. And there was a similar report from South Korea. So you can read about this. You can print up these press releases, take them to doctors, and say, well, they're doing it in China. Why can't we do it? So what else would I say? I guess personally I would say if you're already doing your Remag at 2 to 3 teaspoons a day, as I am, Remite 1.5 teaspoons, 2 Realign, a teaspoon of Pico Silver a day, 2 capsules of Whole C Reset a day, then you're going to have a strong structure and function of your immune system. And then, of course, you're going to be washing your hands carefully after touching anything outside. When you're outside, keep your hands away from your face and your nose. You're going to be avoiding sugar, alcohol, getting lots of sleep, eating a good diet. And then if you are exposed, or if, I guess you could treat your fear as well. So many people here in Maui approach me and say, you know, what are we going to do about this? You know, there's 2 people in my state who have coronavirus, you know, I'm next. And so treating the fear could be just taking your complement formulas. But if you're infected, when you may get just a cold in this time, and you could increase your Remag to 3 teaspoons, your Remite to 2, your Realign to 3, your Pico Silver 1/2 teaspoon hourly while awake. Continue your Whole C Reset, but actually you could take 2 capsules hourly while awake, or take ascorbic acid, because all these studies are using ascorbic acid. It's not the food-based whole vitamin C. So the ascorbic acid can be medicinal in this sense, and as you'll read in the OMNS press releases, they're recommending anywhere from 6 to 10,000 milligrams a day. Now, I've had people write back and say, well, that'll give me the laxative effect. Well, if you're doing your Remag, Remite, Realign, Pico Silver, and Whole C Reset, you probably only need 2 or 3 grams a day, maybe even just 1 or 2 grams a day. The testimonials on Pico Silver just blow me away. One person just wrote in and said, my 55-year-old husband has had problems with his tonsils since childhood. They were not removed, and every year when he was young, during the fall, they would flare up, and he'd get a penicillin shot to help recover. As he got older, the flare-ups were less, but 2 weeks ago he felt the scratchy throat, so he started taking Pico Silver and olive leaf tablets, 2 a day of those. He said he started taking up to 4 teaspoons of Pico Silver during 3 days, and on the 3rd day he claimed that the pus pockets on his tonsils dislodged, and he spit them out and said how grateful that he is for Pico Silver. My husband works away from home, and he takes Pico Silver with him everywhere. Thank you, Dr. Dean. I also would like to say, she talks about her eyes, how she got an eye infection after she was at the eye doctor's, and she sprayed Pico Silver in her eyes, and after 3 days, the infection was totally gone. And then she says, with the flu season in full swing, I have to say that taking Picosilver and daily doses of Remag, Remite, and using Clorox wipes in my home keeps the virus away. And someone else wrote, I do not believe in flu shots, and I'm extra cautious come wintertime. But I get sick every year anyway, and have for as long as I can remember. I'm 67. This past September, I began taking Picosilver. I am amazed and pleased that it was the first winter in years that I did not get sick at all, not even a sniffle. In July of 2019, I also began taking Remite, Remag, Reline, feel better than I have in years. Thank you, Dr. Dean, for creating such great products. And that, I mean, I sent this to Ginny, or she sent it to me, and we both said that it made our eyes leak. It was just so sweet. Then, Ginny, I have testimonials come in, but I'll let you jump on and tell me what I left out. And Ginny is scrambling to unmute her mute button. And I'm taking a drink of my sea salt water. Bob, do you think we're still on the show? I don't hear Ginny. I'll just continue with testimonials in case Ginny's calling back in or something. Now, this is an amazing testimonial. Robin said she wrote us at the beginning of January. She was diagnosed with a follicular lymphoma in her left armpit. She asked me what to do, and I just told her we don't treat cancer, but we tell people to take the Total Body Reset with the Remag, Remite, Realign, you know, all those wonderful things. So she said, I followed your recommendations, adding Realign, Whole C Reset, Picosilver, RNA Reset Drops to the Remag and Remite I was already taking. I also spoke with the doctor you recommended to get the source of the conflict, so that was Dr. Holt. Lots of deep healing going on. It's been a month. I recently saw a friend that I haven't seen in a couple of months. She said, you look radiant. And she puts in brackets, kind of like the radishes on your farm, bracket. The friend said, whatever you're doing, you look amazing. She is a dear, close friend. She knew about my diagnosis but really didn't buy it. While I'm still healing, I do get fatigued in the afternoon and need lying down therapy. Bracket, I love that term. She said, I know I'm healing. I know I'm healing deeply and letting go of people and ways of being and places that are no longer for my highest good. Thank you so much, Dr. Dean, for creating products that are creating new happy cells. Love, Robin. Awesome. Awesome. Another testimonial. I'm a 73-year-old female. I take Remag, Remite, Picosilver, Reline, and use Remag lotion. I use Picosilver drops in my eyes for corneal dystrophy. I spray it on my face to prevent return of contact dermatitis, and I take it orally, 2 teaspoons daily, to aid my immune system. And she was asking me about using it as a nebulizer. She said I've been putting a half teaspoon of Picosilver in my CPAP reservoir with about a cup of distilled water every night to help with chest congestion and cough. Now, we're not allowed to tell people to use it that way, but there's a lot of evidence on the Internet of people who are using it. So we tell people, just check on the Internet and see what you find. But I personally put a teaspoon in my little vaporizer when I need it. And since it's just stabilized ion of silver, no preservatives or anything else. I personally, for myself, consider it safe. Now, this is the same person, but it's like several different questions. I wake up 3 to 8 times a night with hot flashes and heart palpitations. It appears to me that the hot flashes have something to do with blood glucose level, as during waking hours, hot flashes seem to occur within an hour after my eating a meal or a higher carb snack. And she's wondering, is there any data or anecdotal evidence to support the fact that any of your products may cause this early morning hot flash phenomenon? So I said, of course, that I've never heard of that. It doesn't sound like it should happen, but I told her I would say it could be a detox reaction, or as your blood sugar lowers at night and adrenaline comes into play to elevate your blood sugar, the adrenaline may cause a flash. Reducing carbs and continuing to take the products can help balance out all these processes. I forget what this person said about how long she's been taking the products, but I know I've said many times it took me a year and a half to get to the point where my heart palpitations did not come back when I missed a time or two of my taking my minerals and my Realign. So the next testimonial is from Joan, and she says, thank you, and please give Dr. Carolyn a hug for me. I listen to her Monday night program all the time, so Joan's there now. Hi, Joan. Big shout out to you. I love her products, and just who she is as a human being. I thank God for her and her humility and passion for healing. God bless you all. Thank you, Joan. And the next one, I first learned about magnesium late last October. This is Karen. I began taking magnesium glycinate in pill form, then switched to Dr. Dean's Remag and Remite a month ago today. I absolutely love and appreciate these minerals. Since taking them and adding a few vitamins, my heart arrhythmias are almost gone. Eczema is almost gone. Tension in my neck and back greatly reduced. And what I thought might be the start of carpal tunnel in my forearm and wrist is greatly improved. I'm 51, and I have a job where I'm on my feet a lot. I no longer feel like all I want to do is put my feet up after work. I believe all these micronutrients are doing a myriad other things for me too, especially the magnesium. So that's wonderful, and that's only a month. I mean, that's quite wonderful. Thank you for that, Karen. And then Victoria writes, and Ginny will get back to us. She had a bit of an emergency, so she'll get back to us. But I have all these nice testimonials to share with you. Testimonial from Victoria. A very welcome and surprise benefit of taking your minerals and getting enough water is that my skin looks absolutely fabulous. I'm blessed in that I've always looked younger than my age. I'm 56. But I have noticed the cold Chicago winters were really drying out my skin, causing unwelcome deeper wrinkles, especially around my eyes. I would sleep with a humidifier nightly. I even practiced how to smile to make my wrinkles less noticeable, LOL. It dawned on me the other day that the lines around my eyes are at least 75% better, no joke. I can smile as wide as I want now without being self-conscious, even in the month of February. No wonder why you look so young and beautiful. Hugs and love from a very loyal and happy customer. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Victoria. Yes, and we do notice that. People will, all of a sudden someone come up to them and say, well, whatever happened to this, that, and the other, and you look radiant and all that. And you forget that you did have a problem or you did have wrinkles because you're supporting yourselves at the basic level, and things just clear up. Okay, the next.
I have a testimonial.
Okay.
Get ready.
Since Jenny's not here, then I am forced to allow you to come in.
Yes.
Go ahead, Bob.
I was on the Skype last week with a person in Japan, and we hadn't Skyped in a couple of years, and he fell off his chair. He couldn't take the glow coming off my face.
Yes. So, what about it? What do you think that's due to besides living with me, Bob?
These products I get, for, Tylenol, aspirin that I take regularly are doing pretty good for me.
Oh, yeah, it is pretty amazing when people don't see you for a long time, and they tell us that all the time. Haven't seen us for years, and we haven't changed at all. It's very fun.
Well, while some people were here last month, I would see them, almost every other day, and every time they go, "Your hair is getting darker." It was getting darker and darker over a 3-week period.
Day by day.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Okay, I'm going to read one more testimonial. Ginny's busy on another call. You might have to come down and look at chat and ask the questions that Ginny usually asks. So I'll let you set that up, and I'll finish this testimonial from Kathy. Kathy says, I just want to thank you for the support you've given me over the past year. January 2019, I went through a total body meltdown, quite a few issues, but they couldn't figure it out other than age, 72, and stress. I just went through complete blood workup at my doctor's office, and there's great improvement in some areas. My blood pressure's not stable. My heart palpitations are not so often anymore. If so, I take a little more Remag and or sea salt water, and they calm down. They wanted to put me on statins and blood pressure meds, but I said I wanted to try magnesium therapy instead. My magnesium tested at 2 on their scale of 1.6 to 3. I started out last year at 1.8. Also, my kidneys and liver are good. My vitamin D slightly low, but I'm taking the Blue Ice Royal faithfully. My A1C was 5.9, and now it's down to 5.6. Another yay. They say my cholesterol is too high at 264, but it's 13 points lower, and my LDL is lower. All other blood work square in the middle. I still have issues with fibromyalgia, yeast, and fatigue, but I'm working on those. Thank you mostly for the hope you offer to us that have tried everything else for years, only worsening until now. God bless Dr. Dean and the whole crew. Awesome.
Yay, Dr. Dean, I'm back.
Jenny's back. Okay, Bob, go away, Bob. We don't need you, Bob.
Poor Bob.
Bob gave a testimonial, though, that said he was glowing, and then I said he was so good with the testimonial, he didn't mess up at all, so I said to go to the chat and do the chat like Ginny. But Ginny's back, Bob. You're off the hook.
They also said this Tylenol and aspirin's working great. She assumed to take their product.
Oh, I forgot he said that. Oh,
very good.
Okay. Yeah, Ginny, we only have 10 minutes to top the hour. What would you like to do?
We've got callers, so I think we should chitty-chat with some folks if you're up for that.
Let's do that. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. And we have most precious and wonderful callers in the whole wide world that have been our very good fans and good friends for a long time. So we're going to talk to our most precious Ruth. Hello, Ruth.
Oh. Hey, hi, girls.
Hi, Ruth. Oh, good to hear. Bob talks about you all the time. He tells people about Ruth in L.A. and how she's getting boyfriends on her new lease on life.
Ruth in L.A. is telling you the truth. I'm really scared about this coronavirus. I've never even paid any attention to the others as they came up. I never take the flu shot. I don't do any of those things. And then I found I was getting scared. And while I was listening to you, Dr. Carolyn, I remembered that somebody I turned on to your product used the magnesium to get over a fear. She had become afraid to drive, a much younger woman than myself, and she found that after she took the magnesium, she no longer was afraid to drive. So that's what I should do with this fear of the virus. I should take more of the magnesium. You know, sometimes I admit sometimes I forget. My big question today, if I may get an answer, is sometimes I use the, I forgot what it's called. Oops. You know, the magnesium that comes solid in the bottle. That is
like
not,
the natural calm? The natural calm?
No, I do that too. But no, all right. I think I get it from Radiant Life. I put it on my skin, not your product, but theirs.
Oh,
it's just
magnesium
plain magnesium
oil.
Right.
Sure, magnesium oil, right.
And it is really uncomfortable when I put it on. Yeah. How long do I have to wait before I can wash it off?
Well, you wash it off, but then you put it aside and use our Remag lotion, which has effects of a beauty cream on the skin. It doesn't itch or irritate. But the magnesium oil you can wash off after 30 minutes.
Okay.
It's going to be absorbed, yeah.
If I use just yours and mine, your oil, that new oil, it's not as strong.
It's 200 milligrams of Remag liquid are in the formula for every teaspoon.
Oh, wow.
It is, that's going to be absorbed through the skin, but the lotion base that it's in makes your skin go very soft. I mean, I used to have all those bumps at the top of my arms, and they're totally gone just after using the Remag lotion for a short time. So, the Remag lotion is what you want. Ginny, will you send Ruth a complimentary bottle of Remag lotion?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go.
You girls are spoiling me. That's very nice. I need it. I told you that I'm already 75. I like the way I say it. For some reason, I'm discarding 20 years. I'm 95 and a half.
And you don't sound a day over 60. Okay, sweetheart, we're going to send you the Remag lotion.
Thank you,
more
dear.
Remag, and yes, don't worry about this coronavirus. The sky may fall, but it's not going to fall on you. Okay?
But I'm not supposed to worry about dying at my age. I'm supposed to just accept it. But I want to see everything happen. I want to get, don't say it, Ruth. Yeah, I'm happy. I really find that this time in my life is turning out to be the happiest. Isn't that odd?
Oh, that's so wonderful. I think that's awesome. Bob's going to invite you to come on his radio show.
Yes,
He is.
Yes, Bob.
I saw Ruth on Tinder last week out there floating around looking for a social life. I saw that.
He's terrible. He's terrible. But really, Bob has a show on this same station on Saturday night.
And we're all ancient. We're all old people. So you're welcome. And we refuse to die. So come in and give us a testimony.
We're not supposed to die.
That's right. No. It's a big mistake to die. Big mistake.
Okay, sweetie, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Big hugs. Bye-bye. Uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh.
Yeah, Ruth can't even hang up.
We're in limbo, Ruth. We're in limbo.
Okay, I'm going to hang up. I was waiting for the next hour. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to hang up, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. Thank you, Ruth. Yes, it's an interesting time. Ginny's been getting all kinds of calls that she has to take on the side, and what I was waiting for at our 257, 258, the music comes in. Our buddy Dave Neufeld's intros and outros are supposed to come in to lead us off the hour, but that's not happened this second. So we'll just continue on. But yes, Ruth has been around for many years, and it's really quite adorable to hear you say, Ruth, that you're in your happy years. So yes, we want to make them happy and healthy. See you in the next hour.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
What city plays?
The old categories. They don't apply anymore. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
What city plays?
We're well beyond the categories for men and women right now. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
I do advocate immediate fast to bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
AchieveRadio.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Sanders,
Also known as Ginny Almighty.
who joins Dr. Dean on tonight's program. Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. And we'll be taking your calls from around the world and right here in the USA.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. So happy to have you with us this evening. Thank you for enjoying this show, and thank you for all your referrals and recommendations and all the people that you share and support through this information that Dr. Dean so graciously recommends. We're in Hour 2, and I think we're taking phone calls. But, Carolyn, while I was zipping in and out there, I was missing a testimonial that's so funny because it actually comes from within our own clan. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Bill, my brother, typed in and said that one of Greg's employees, Josh, his very precious girlfriend, now his fiance, had debilitating migraines twice a month. I remember her telling me about them. She had to call in sick to work and all kinds of other stuff. She started taking Remag every day in December, and she has not had one since. How great is that?
Oh, wow. Yep. No more. That's wonderful. That'll make for a happy wedding when, otherwise under stress, people who get migraines get them around their wedding and all that horrible stuff. So that's going to make for a lot of happiness. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Very exciting. It's very exciting. Well, we just get so many great testimonials. It's just incredible. Yeah, just so fantastic. Okay, so let's go back to our phone call, shall we?
Yep, I'm good with that. Very good.
Okay, 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you're listening to us live this evening. Those who are listening to the archive, just make a note of 602-666-6027, then write that down. Then be here the next Monday evening, because we're here every Monday. I mean, we are here on some Mondays, folks. I mean, it's very rare that Carolyn and I are not here. Right, Carolyn, wouldn't you say?
I'll be flying in an airplane, and that will keep me from being on the show. That's probably the only time.
Yeah, that's it. I think we even did Christmas Eve or some crazy thing this year. Yeah, we're all about it. But anyway, so write the number down, 602-666-6027, then come join us the next Monday rolls around, and call in with your question. And you can always email your questions, again, listening to the archives or through one of our podcasts is questions, questions, that's plural, questions at drcarolyndeanlive.com. And our most faithful and gracious Melody Rose, who is quite literally on her vacation right now, and she is sailing around the seas, and she has still got her laptop, and she will still transcribe this radio show, and she will still take everybody's emails, and she will still support Carolyn that way because she's such a fan, and she's so grateful. She's really a really precious and wonderful person. So there's no end to the support you can have, because there's no end to the support that Carolyn has, because there's no end to the belief that everybody has in the power of what we're doing and the lives that we are changing. So just know that if you've got questions, you can get a hold of us at any time. Okay, so if you're on the line and you want to talk to Dr. Dean this evening, you've got to hit star 5 on your keypad. We'll raise your hand here in the studio and let us know, and then we'll put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. And I see all of a sudden the hands flailing about. So let's start taking some phone calls again, going out to the great state of Colorado, and we love Colorado, 719 area code. You're on the line with Dr. Dean this evening. If you could give us your call, a name, and then state your question or comment.
Is that me?
That's you.
That's me? Oh, good. My name is Pamela, and I don't know exactly how to ask my questions, but I'll start from the beginning. I've been taking your Pico Magnesium for, I don't know, I think at least 2 years. But about a year and a half ago, I started having heart palpitations just all of a sudden, and dizziness. And, of course, the doctors didn't help me at all, and they might have put me on meds and all that stuff. And I said, no, I'm not taking meds. And so I finally decided I needed to do a detox, and I did some energetic healing. And that seemed to start turning me around, and so I've gotten rid of most of that. But I started out with the magnesium originally because I was having such terrible leg cramps. Well, they had improved a lot with the Pico Magnesium. But at one point, the doctor wanted to do a heavy metal testing on me. Now, I realize you have a different kind of a test, but we found there was a number of different heavy metals that I was at toxic levels on, and she was just blown away. And she took me off. I was taking a lot of supplements, so she told me to get off all of them. So I did that except for the magnesium, and I told her I can't get rid of the magnesium because I have such terrible cramps. So she said, okay, well, then I'll know that you're on that. So we get this back, and I'm at all this toxic levels of them. And so again, she wanted to give me meds and all this, and I said no. And I said, I will do a liver detox, and I'm going to do it with food. And she didn't know anything about that, so I found out my own way of doing it, and that seemed to really turn me around. So what I want to say is, first of all, I am still having leg cramps with it. And I've been on 2 teaspoons of it for all this time. And I heard you say today that you even go up to 3. Do you think that would be a recommended thing for me to do?
How old are you, Pamela?
77.
And the heart palpitations, are they better?
Yeah, they're pretty much gone. I have a little bit of it now and then, but nothing like I had before.
All right. And you're just taking our Remag, the 2 teaspoons, nothing else?
You mean nothing else as far as other supplements, or do you mean as
Correct.
magnesium?
As other supplements.
Yes, I did start going back on other things, too, because I thought I needed them after I...
Well, what I would recommend is, magnesium's going to help 80% of things, but there's another 20% that need the other minerals. And it's best if you take any other minerals just to take our Remite. And the Remite has 12 minerals, the same stabilized ions. When
I'm sorry, is there calcium in that one?
There's just a smidge of calcium. We need 600 milligrams of calcium a day, and I think there's something like 20 or 30 milligrams, like a tenth of or a 20th of what you need. So it's not going to be a problem.
I had been using Remite, and then my doctor said, well, you've got to get off of everything that has any calcium in it. So
well, no, that's not going to be a problem, and you're missing so many other minerals. And that may be all you require, because it takes the pressure off needing more Remag. When I was on 4 teaspoons of Remag, and I finally made the Remite, and I was testing it, by just taking the Remite, it allowed me to drop to 3 teaspoons of Remag. Now, you may need some more Remag for your leg cramps, but absolutely use the Remite, and the Realign is designed for heavy metal detoxification. So if you're going to take any other supplements, you need our Realign as well. So that, So that would be the way I would go. Okay, Pamela?
Okay, then can I ask you another question? This has to do with silver, and I know that isn't part of your thing, but
we have a Pico Silver, Pamela. We have a stable ion, a silver product called Pico Silver.
Okay, well, I have this thing that silver is a metal, and I've got heavy metal issues. So what is the story there? I don't understand if I can take that.
Well, silver has been used, for centuries for infections. They still use silver creams and all that in the hospitals. And if we hadn't turned toward antibiotics, we'd still be using silver. And so the people who continued with the silver research, they went to colloidal silver. Now, that can be like a silver compound. But what my chemist does is make the silver into a stabilized ion of silver. It's not a silver compound, and it's that form of mineral ions that the body requires at the cellular level. There is a body requirement for some silver And you can read all the information that I have on silver in a free ebook that I have at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and it will blow you away at what silver can be used for. But it's being pushed aside because you can't patent it or make a drug out of it. It supports the growth factors in the bones. What is it? Oh, I'm losing my mind here just a little bit. The stem cell production, right? Oh. It stimulates stem cells, for Pete's sakes. And we need these stem cells. Yep.
So it doesn't have any chance of building up in the body then?
No, not our Pico Silver, not at all. When people describe the buildup, it was people making their own silver in their kitchens and not doing a good job of it, and they ended up ingesting silver compounds and turned a couple people blue. So it just scared everybody. But a stabilized ion of silver is very safe. And the information is all in that booklet to reassure you. Okay?
Okay. All right. So then the colloidal silver would not be recommended.
I personally have never had any positive experience with colloidal, and so it didn't work for me. The Pico Silver, my story there is I was getting an airplane cold when I got home from a trip. I took 6 teaspoons of the first bottle of Pico Silver that I got to test, and I woke up the next day with no cold. So I fell in love with it. Totally.
Great.
Yeah, get on the drcarolyndeanlive.com website, Pamela, and download some of my books under the books link. There's all the books, and I'm sure you'll be interested in going through them because you don't know enough about our products. You didn't know Realign could help detoxify, for Pete's sake. So,
right.
Yeah,
yes.
you got some learning to do.
I've been trying, but I haven't remembered to go to your stuff, and I didn't know you had. I have the Magnesium Miracle, but I didn't know you had more books.
Oh, yeah, lots of them. But, yeah, that's what we say, kind of tongue-in-cheek. Why bother with any other information? Why bother with Dr. Google when you have my stuff? That's what we're trying to get across. I've been around for 50 years, okay? I've done all the homework. I've got it all laid out for you, girl. Okay?
All right. Great. Thank you so much, Doc.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, what a delightful caller. Wonderful, wonderful. I love it when the new people call. It's so much fun. All right.
Will they come back? Will we hear again from them?
Oh, yes, they do. They come back. Well, we know that this gal's called many, many times. We're so happy. Area code 731. Great state of Tennessee. You're on the line. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
It's Priscilla.
Hey, Priscilla. Hello.
I was wondering, I take Remag, but before I was able to get Remag, I was taking a magnesium aspartate, which I do not want to take any longer. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend I do with the bottles that I have left?
Are they capsules, Priscilla, or hard?
Yes, they are capsules.
I would open them up and put them in water and use them as a fertilizer.
That's what I was wondering.
Great minds, great minds.
I wanted to put them beside my tomato plants, but my sister said, but what if it takes up the aspartate?
I know. No, it won't. I mean, that's just like,
I said, well, that's an amino acid.
Right.
It will change into a nitrogen.
That's right. Yeah. Very
okay,
funny.
Great. Thank you.
Sweet. Very sweet, Priscilla. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And my massage therapist, I went to her. I go every 2 weeks because I have MS and lots of spasticity.
Yeah.
And I went this Wednesday, it'd be 2 weeks ago. I went. She said, "What have you done?" I said, "Oh, I've started taking a placebo." She said, "That is not true. Muscles don't know placebos."
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I said, "Well, I'm taking Remag." She said, "Now you're telling the truth. Where do I get the stuff?" So I told her.
Yep. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, you can refer her if she wants to get involved with us. That'd be wonderful.
I wish she could
it.
get. Yes, she noticed it. She said, "Your muscles are relaxed."
Wow.
And I'm just so thankful.
That's wonderful.
Thank you for Remag.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Priscilla. Now, look, Priscilla, are you I was just after Pamela about taking the Remite and the Realign. Are you taking those other ones as well?
I have not yet started.
Okay. Well,
I'm
some work
considering
to
it.
do. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Well,
I do.
Do like I told Pamela, go to drcarolyndeanlive.com, and I've got a book on Realign, and you may know the book on Remag and a book on Remite.
I have the Remag book. I have the Magnesium Miracle. I don't have computer access.
Oh, I see.
But
maybe you have a friend who can print it up?
I could. I've been listening to your telephone conferences or whatever you call it. And I pick up little bits and little tea pieces here and there, and it's like,
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is what I want you to do then. This is your homework, to look into the Realign and the Remite. And then maybe, give them a little try, and then maybe in 6 months you'll call us back and tell us the next good thing that your massage therapist or your doctor will say. Yes. I mean, it happens all the time. I read out earlier how someone went back to their doctor and everything had shifted. It's entirely possible. At any stage of any level of health or illness, you can change it if you work on yourselves.
Yes, and it's God blessing it, yes.
Yeah. God and nature are on your side. Yeah.
Yes.
You're welcome, Priscilla. Big hug, dear. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent call. Lovely. That's perfect. Yes, use it for the plants. They love it. That'd be great. Okay, and let's go to area code 215, the great state of Philadelphia. Hello. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If the great state of Philadelphia, the great state of Pennsylvania. Ooh, probably calling from Philadelphia. Hello, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. Could you give us your name and then ask your question or comment?
Hello?
Yes, you're here.
Oh,
we got
great. Oh, I never thought I'd get on. Hi, my name's Helene.
Helene, hello, Helene.
Hi, how you doing, Dr. Dean? Oh, I listen to your show all the time, and I just really started listening to it. And I have two kind of quick questions. I take the Remag, 3 teaspoons. I take the Remite, 1.5, and I take the Recal, 1 teaspoon. But I put them all in my morning vegetable shake. Now, am I still getting the benefits from that?
Well, what will happen, Helene, maybe it hasn't happened yet, but by taking all your dosing, especially of the Remag at one time, it might overload your cells, and then you waste some, through your urine or through the bowels, which would be represented by the laxative effect.
Yeah,
so you might be just wasting it a bit.
Okay, so how would it be better if I drank my shake in 2 different portions, like
yes,
one in the morning and then save some and drink it later in the day?
Yes, that would be much better.
Okay.
That would, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that answers that question. My other question is about your Pico Silver.
Yes.
I heard you say to someone, or I maybe just caught part of it, that you put it in a saline solution and used it as eye drops. I have dry eye. That's what I'm asking about.
Right.
If this would work.
What's happened with the Pico Silver? It's not salty. It doesn't have a preservative, and people have reported to us that they've used it on their own without us telling them to, because we're not their doctor. They've used it for eye infections. I don't know about dry eyes. I don't know if you would need to use it in a saline solution, or you would just maybe put 1 drop in your eye. I've done that with the Pico Silver, just put 1 drop in my eyes. For the dry eye business, what I personally use is a homeopathic called Similazin. Do you have something to write this down?
Yeah, go ahead. I got it.
Similazin, Similazin, and they have they're homeopathic eye drops, and they have them for dry eye relief is the one I use. They have them for allergies and pink eye and all that. I've just used the dry eye one, and that might be helpful. The other thing for dry eyes is getting organic castor oil and putting 1 drop in the eye. But that's a little trickier. That's a thick bit of oil, and you have to manipulate the dropper and not ruin everything around you. But actually what I would do is wash my hands, put a drop of castor oil on my finger, and just close your eye and sort of rub it over the eye, and a little bit will get in there. Because there's something, what happens with the dry eye, it can be that little channel to the side of the eyes that gets blocked, or, it can be something that can be treated with the castor oil or the Pico Silver. And the dry eye relief is just sort of a symptomatic. I don't think it's going to cure the dryness.
Okay. All right, that's good. And I have one request. Maybe you can just put it in your suggestion box. I use your Realign capsules.
Yeah.
Okay? Make them in a bigger bottle. Like 120.
Right. I know. It's just, yes. Yeah, we doubled up our Remag and Remite.
Yeah, I buy the big bottles. Yeah, I buy the big bottles of the Remag and the Remite, and I'm thinking, I need a big bottle of these. So, whatever. I just thought I'd suggest it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to my partner in crime, Ginny.
Okay. Ginny.
Okay.
She can work on it.
She can work on it. She works on everything.
Yes,
so awesome.
we will ask. It's a very good idea. Everybody wants bigger sizes. They want a 3-gallon bucket of the Remag lotion. So we're
yeah, Helene.
Is the shelf life on that good?
Yeah, exactly. But yes, we have our customers return to us for years and years, forever. So they know they're going to be taking this stuff. Yeah, so it just makes sense.
Right.
As it all works. Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay, and thank you very much for all your information. It has helped me tremendously.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thanks, Helene.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Wow, what a love fest.
Sweet.
Like a total love fest.
We're just having a huge love fest tonight, and apparently everybody knew that's what we needed, so that's pretty cool. Okay, now.
That's because I got back on. I was allowed on. I create that vibration,
right.
that frequency, that mood.
You do, Bob. You are the frequency of love, 6.944 megahertz frequency. That's Bob right there. Force field. Woohoo! Okay, let's go off to the New Jersey, area code 732. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Dr. Dean. Hi, Jenny. I hope you're well tonight. You sound terrific. It's Diana.
Diana, okay.
Yeah, I've talked to you many times before. I wanted to ask you a question. My son seems to have a lot of fluid in his knee, and he seems to think that his knee is not stable. Now, a few years ago, we took him to my orthopedic surgeon, and he took X-rays, and he said he just had I can't remember what it's called, but there's something having to do with some kind of tissue in the knee, and he said it was loose, but he said he did not suggest surgery because he was pretty young. So I'm wondering if anything like the Remag, or anything like that, or, I mean, I have Pico Silver also that I bought, if any of that would help.
How old is your son, Diane?
He's now 29.
And did he have any injury to his knees?
No, but he did play baseball for many years when he was younger.
Yeah. Baseball has a lot of knee twisting activity. And does he truly have fluid on the knees, or he just feels it?
He just feels it, I think. I mean, he says he feels it. He feels like it's loose, and it doesn't seem too solid. So he feels that there's got to be some fluid that's come back.
Come back? Did he have something where he actually had fluid on the knees in the past?
Well, I mean, when he was playing baseball, he would complain a little bit, and that's when I took him over to my surgeon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the surgeon said, he's too young. It doesn't really pay to do surgery. And he suggested to just, try to take it easy and not exercise it at the time. But now my son's been doing more fitness kinds of exercise, and he's just feeling like he's had to take a whole week off because he couldn't move his knee very well.
Yeah. Okay, here's what I would do. I would get some clay. I used to get the LL's magnetic clay. I think they're now called Enviromedica. You can get a whole whack of clay from them. They sell it in big containers or big bags for use in detox baths, but I find it very good for poulticing. So what he would do is mix up some clay and water. Now, if there's an infection or gout, or in an older person, for example, sometimes you can get a bacterial infection. I would be mixing some Pico Silver in with the water and the clay to make like a mucky dough. And then he just mucks the clay around his knee, wraps it up with a thin towel. He can go to bed with it, maybe wrap some plastic around it too. And the clay will reabsorb fluid. When I had my last knee injuries, I fell over flew over the handlebars of my bike a few years ago, and landed on my knees. I stumbled home, and I put clay packs on them, and it took away the fluid and any chance of infection or anything. So clay poultices on the knee. It sounds bizarre, but it'll do the trick.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, I have something by Redmond Clay. May I use that one, or should I get the one that you're suggesting?
Oh, no, use what you have. Certainly use what you have. But, doing two big man knees, you're probably going to need more clay.
Oh, yes, that's true. You're right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And another question I have, how long do I do this for, do you think?
Until it works. Like he can put it on, every night. Doesn't have to bother with it during the day when it would get in the way. He can just slap it on at night, wrap his legs up, go to bed, sleep on his back, and then rinse it off. Or it'll dry up overnight, so it'll just cake off. Just be careful taking it off, and then shower it off. And then, that type of thing I usually see within a week. There's a big difference.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll try that. Okay, wonderful. And the next question I have is I've been taking pretty much all of your products. The only thing is I had talked to Doug because when I first started with the Realign about a year ago, I was taking one capsule, and then he said to me, gradually increase it to 2 because it looked like at the time I was actually excreting it all in my urine. So I did increase it to 2 just recently, and it seems like it's still coming out of my urine. So do I need to reduce it back to 1? I'm only like 93, 94 pounds, and I'm 4'11".
So you're saying your urine is a bit yellow or not yellow?
Well, my urine usually, since I drink so much water, it's usually very, very light. And I put basically my Remag, Remite, and the sea salt, I put it all in like a 5-cup bottle. So it's all there, and then I drink it throughout the day. So my urine is always very light. But when I take the Realign, it's really yellow. And so that's why Doug said to just take 1, but try to increase it gradually later on. So now I think it's been almost a year.
I mean, the yellow is one of the B vitamins. It's just it's swishing through, but I say to people, well, on its way out, it's helping to keep the structure and function of your bladder and your urethra and everything. I wouldn't worry about it being dark. When your body needs more of the Bs, it'll grab them. Our Realign is very low potency. It's food-based and methylated. It's not synthetic. So you're getting what the body requires. And you could take 1 or 2. It's a detoxifier. It supports the adrenal glands. It helps the nervous system. It's got all the Bs and the 2 amino acids. The taurine is for your heart. The methionine helps produce the glutathione. It's doing a dozen different things. So we do like people to take 2 a day just because it's so busy doing everything. But it's up to you. You could do an experiment, Diana, and see if you feel better on 1 a day or better on 2 a day.
Okay. All right. And how will I know that? I mean, I know that sometimes when I'm really, really tired in the late afternoon, like around 2 o'clock, I'll just take another Realign. But because it really does make you more alert.
Right, yes. Well, there's your answer. You've already told me now. So then that would lead me to say, well, I'll take 1 in the morning, I'll take 1 at lunch, and then I won't be tired in the afternoon. Boom, done. Don't worry about the color of the urine.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Dean. Have a wonderful night.
Okay. Great to hear from you. Thanks, Diane. Bye-bye now.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay, outstanding. The great state of Florida, Fort Myers, your area code 239. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment. Thanks for waiting.
Hi, this is Lonnie from, used to live in Florida. Now I'm in South Carolina where the sun never shines.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry, Lonnie. Oh,
well,
let me get the spelling of your name, Lonnie. Is Lonnie?
No, it's Lani. My parents lived
Lonnie.
on Lonnie. Yeah.
Got it.
Lived on Lonnie Kai when Mom was pregnant. I have a little story to tell and a couple questions to ask at the end. Hopefully, maybe some of your other listeners can learn through my mistakes because I've been battling AFib now for a couple years and, just got a hold of your book in June of 2019, started taking Remag, and immediately, instead of having AFib every other day for 12 hours, I was getting it I was getting it less and less and less up to 25 days. And I checked my RBC magnesium back then. I was at 5.2, and I was anxious to get up to the 6 point, or this, between 6.0 and 6.5. So I was really pushing it down and rubbing it on my body and trying to rush it. Anyway, my advice to your other listeners is don't try to go too fast. Take it easy. But in the meantime, though, I ran across a couple tangents. I ran across a guy on an AFib website who claimed that he got rid of his AFib for 7 years by keeping his vitamin D level, speaking of no sunshine here, up above 65, whatever I forgot milligram, whatever it is I use per deciliter. But above 65, and in doing that, though, keeping calcium super low, because with too much vitamin D, you get too much calcium, and so I tried his method for a couple weeks, loading up on my vitamin D and keeping my calcium down to like 250 milligrams in my diet. But it's so hard to avoid calcium. It's in every food you eat, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I did that. I did that. And so keep that in mind, because I'm going to ask you, because I had been diagnosed with osteoporosis, and I used to do a lot of greens, and I've kind of gotten off them now that I did that little calcium thing. So that was like in January sometime, and then my doctor, who is an integrated medicine doctor, said, you're anxious, and I am. Your friend Julie, your customer service Julie, knows me.
Okay.
She's got me on your RNA drops now, and hopefully
good. Yes,
straighten me out. But she said, let's test your copper to zinc ratio, and sure enough, my copper was super high, my zinc was super low. So she said, take 20 milligrams of zinc, and I thought, no, I read in Dr. Dean's book somewhere that zinc will bind with magnesium, so I didn't want to do it. And I didn't do it until I got this book by William Walsh, Ph.D., which is saying you've really got to get your zinc up and your copper down. So I started taking it. So guess what? My RBC magnesium, as of the report that came in today, is down to 5.0. So it's been fluctuating. I got it down to 4.9 because I was getting the laxative effect, and so then I started taking the psyllium fiber, and I got it back up to 5.1, and now I'm back to 5.0 again. So do you think it's the high vitamin D, low calcium, or was it the zinc that did that to me?
It's a little bit of it all, Lonnie. I know Walsh's work, we have a whole huge group of people. I won't tell you who they are, but they were following Walsh's work and taking too much of these minerals that are like mineral compounds. The body has to work really hard to absorb them, and I'll talk about calcium more than the zinc, but taking calcium pills, which I know you don't, the excess will precipitate in the body. So that may be happening when you take these high doses of zinc or whatever, taking the zinc to try to push the copper away. But the thing of it is, in the midst of all of that, a person needs bioavailable copper, which is what you get in the Remite. And in the Remite, I do mix.
Remite. I quit taking it. My copper came up too high. Do you think I should take it anyway, even though my copper's high?
Yes, because it's a bioavailable stabilized ion of copper. And the zinc in it is, I think there's 10 times more zinc than copper. So I'm aware of this. I mean, anybody who's been around nutrition and nutrients for as long as I have, we know about the copper problem, but we also know that if you don't have copper, a lot of things can go wrong. And that's why I created the Remite with the balance. And I do talk about it in the book. I try not to scare people into taking my supplements, but I've got the answers to a lot of these concerns already in the supplements. And then you'll get someone like Walsh or a nutritionist who kind of has a limited view of the picture, and they just push one thing. I mean, the doctor who told you about the zinc-copper ratio, she or he probably just went to a recent conference, and it was all about zinc-copper. Oh, my gosh, copper's going to kill you. And then they tell every one of their patients, and then, you could have been in balance with your Remag, but like you said, you took too much. But then, running after the vitamin D thing is really really difficult to...
It's dangerous.
Well, yes, it uses up your magnesium, for one thing. In order to make
increasing vitamin D, increasing my vitamin D used up my magnesium?
Correct. Yes, and I've written about this a lot. You go to the Magnesium Miracle book, and you can find reference where the supplemental form, even the sunshine form of vitamin D, requires magnesium to turn that inactive form into an active form. So you load up with vitamin D, and then boom, your magnesium busy trying to get rid of this vitamin D. And I learned that when we went into this high-dose vitamin D. I mean, maybe for this guy it's fine, and he's a guy. Maybe there's a difference in the whole calcium metabolism. He's got bigger bones and more needs more calcium than women do. But anyway, so what I learned about vitamin D is when people started getting on to the bandwagon taking like 50,000 units. I know you didn't take any near that. But what they would do is very quickly come back with their AFib, heart palpitations, migraines. I had one woman who had a migraine for 6 weeks until she finally read something. And she was on the Remag and everything. She finally read where I wrote about don't take too high dose of vitamin D. And Lonnie, that's why we're doing this grassroots health research project, so we can find out how much supplements do our customers have to take to make their vitamin D or relieve themselves of vitamin D deficiency symptoms? Because my vitamin D is very low, but my magnesium is very high, and I don't feel the need for more vitamin D. I'm taking more right now. It's very interesting. It's not making me require more magnesium. My body's very kind of tuned into all this. If I eat foods that are high in calcium, like I've mentioned many times, if I eat a quart of yogurt over 2 or 3 days, my heart palpitations will start to, slowly ding me, and I realize that my calcium is taking out my magnesium. So I have to take more Remag. But the vitamin D, I am taking extra, like 250, 2,500 one day and 5,000 the next day. I'll retest my vitamin D, see what it says. But so far, I'm not having to take more Remag. I'm only. My body's only requesting I take 1 teaspoon a day, for Pete's sakes, which is amazing.
Yeah, because you're already saturated. I haven't even gotten close yet.
Yeah.
So both of these little experiments I did have driven me down further than I was before I started.
Right. And you learned something. It's fine. An experiment, N equals 1. You're the one in your own experiment. And, yes, thank you. It's giving us an opportunity to talk about this on the radio and help other people. So what are you going to do now, Lonnie? What did Julie tell you to do?
It's funny. I was at the cardiologist today. I was almost ready to get on some medicine because I'm having the AFib, every day, and it lasts for hours. And so, but he said no. He wanted to do more testing. He wanted to do a nuclear stress test, and I said no. I'm not letting you put any of that radioactive stuff in my veins. And I'm also taking a little more taurine than what you have in the Reline. I mean, I know there's like 200 milligrams in the Reline.
Right.
But I was hoping that the taurine might help me. He said, "Oh my God, don't take taurine. That's a stimulant. That's what your problem is."
Dear. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing of it is, I think you're going to Dr. Google too much, Lonnie, and you're not listening to Julie, because the thing of it is, I can say this to you. I've been at this for 50 years, and I put in the amount of taurine that's good for a person, not too stimulating, but that's good for a person, in the balance of all the other nutrients. If you do a study and you just use taurine, it's like you have to have those high doses to make a difference. But when you're on your magnesium and you're on your other minerals and your methylated Bs, you don't need medicinal high doses. The reason these studies come out with these numbers is they only do them short term. They use high doses to create a reaction. We're in this for the long term. We're going to use supplements in proper amounts, like the low-dose Bs. I mean, they're giving people synthetic Bs 100 milligrams. What is that doing to the body? It's just too much. The body has to detoxify all that B. Our Bs are like, 3 and 5 milligrams for Pete's sakes, and that's all the body requires. But anyway, I am standing on my soapbox right now, and I'm going to climb down.
No, I'm glad you're there. I'm drinking up every word. But I have one little question about my calcium intake. I've kept it down for, a month or so, or a little more than a month. But I'm getting worried about my bones. I don't want to take a supplement because I do have a bottle of Recalcia, which I'll use up little by little. But should I limit my calcium? When my calcium is low, Lonnie, my knees kind of ache a little bit. So I know that about myself. Now with you, are your nails getting softer? Is your hair falling out a little bit? I mean, are there things are your teeth feeling a little gritty? Are there things that you can notice about maybe not having enough calcium? Not that I know of. That's the problem. I don't have any arthritis. I don't have any extra pains. I mean, I'm so blessed. I'm 66 years old. And all I have is AFib. But the AFib, it was getting worse, but I think I just figured it out. It's all that other stuff I was doing. I should have just stuck with the plan,
Stuck with the plan. So with you having said that, then go back to my original recommendations. Get 600 milligrams in your diet and or Recalcia. That's it.
That's the calcium. Okay.
Yeah, Recalcia. And in the Recalcia, it's 300 milligrams per teaspoon. But, dairy products, the greens, some grains, they all have calcium. Like you say, it's in everything.
Everything. Only thing I can eat when I was trying to keep my calcium low was like iceberg lettuce.
Oh my gosh! And that's
very little.
That stuff is almost toxic. It's so bad.
And coconut didn't have. Coconut doesn't have much any calcium. But that's about it.
Okay, so you sound happier. You don't sound so anxious as when you started. So you're on the right track. The worst is over. And okay, can we let you go now?
The only thing I wanted to say about the vitamin D is that I've read that cancer patients generally have low vitamin D.
Oh, for sure. Now, that's exactly right, but this is what we're trying to do with the Grassroots Health. It started, Carol Baggerly started this whole operation 11 years ago because she had breast cancer, and when she started researching it, because her field is in engineering and research anyway, and she realized that there was all these studies showing cancer people had low vitamin D. So she thought, oh my gosh. So she's determining what levels are appropriate for people to prevent these diseases. And she's saying it's from 40 to 60 might be the sweet point. But that's with just vitamin D. When she pulled us in, me and Ginny, to look at magnesium, are our people who are taking Remag and have good levels of magnesium, maybe they just need the 40 units or whatever of vitamin D and don't have to do the high doses. So, yeah, it's very hard to get the right information when you just Google around because, I mean, I've had people come back at me and say, well, I take, whatever, 30,000 units I use of vitamin D, and I've never felt better. And I say, well, good for you. You probably have enough magnesium. But all these anecdotes just, they frustrate people because what am I supposed to do? So that's why we're doing the research project. It's $214 for the test, and we give you back coupons to that amount to buy our products throughout the 6 months of the testing. So
I wonder if I'm too messed up to do it.
What?
Because I've started out, my magnesium's so low right now, I guess it's a good time to start, though.
It's a good time to start, get a baseline, and, write down your symptoms. Do the proper experiment instead of, going off on your own following who knows who. Follow us in the Grassroots, get your testing, and then we'll be able to help you fine-tune. It's perfect time.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that I called tonight. I do feel so much better. And I'll just stick with the plan. So all you other listeners out there, don't rush it. It takes time. And be patient, and it will happen.
Sweet. And it's going to happen again because you had the sweet points in the past.
Yeah.
No wasted for 25 days. Yeah.
5.2
okay, my dear.
My next goal. Okay, take care.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lonnie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, goodness gracious, that was just a beautiful run of phone calls. We've got just 3 minutes left until the top of the hour, and we've had a very patient Suzanne waiting in Seattle for a response to this question, which is, I'm taking 3 teaspoons of all the products every day and throughout the day, and equaling 9 milligrams of zinc per day approximately. Would adding additional zinc be beneficial along with your vitamin C for the C19 virus? I'm 67 years old, no immune issues thus far. Also, I'm waiting for your new Flora Revive. Do you have an update?
Okay, I didn't quite get, is Suzanne taking just 3 teaspoons of Remag? How much Remite?
Well, it sounds like if she's taking 3 teaspoons of Remite, let me look and see. I can't remember how much zinc is in Remite off the top of my head, so I'll look and see. But she's got 9 milligrams of zinc a day, and then she's asking, does she need more?
No. I mean, and I've got it here. Yeah, she's got 3. There are 3 milligrams in the Remite. But the thing of it is, Suzanne, our minerals are stabilized ions of the actual mineral. It's a zinc. It's not a zinc compound, and there are many zinc compounds, and that makes them hard for the body to absorb. But that 3 milligrams is going right to work. If you want to take 2 or 3 milligrams of Remite, that may be okay, but there's iodine in the Remite as well. I don't want people to get too much iodine, even though it's only 75 micrograms in 3/4 of a teaspoon. That's why I only say 2 doses of 3/4 of a teaspoon is enough to balance the body and keep the structure and function of the immune system. If you're thinking of increasing your zinc to protect the immune system, you could throw off your other minerals. If I would go for the picos, if you want to be treating a flu or a cold at a stronger, deeper level, I would be using more Pico Silver and then add either our Whole Seed Reset in higher amounts, but that can get expensive, or use ascorbic acid. More ascorbic acid. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Excellent. All right. We will be back next week. Thank you, everybody. Great show.
Yes. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bill.
You've been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's show, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.